Engineering means basically you design something or think up a concept and then build it. So there's all kinds of different engineers. I'm actually an electrical engineer, but there's mechanical engineers, structural engineers, civil engineers, environmental engineers, acoustical engineers. So all those would design different type things. And sometimes when I say design, you might be making something. Sometimes you might be working in a plant or developing something or research. But so different type. Electrical would be, that's what I do. It would be lights or power like receptacles or big motors. Mechanical would be like your air conditioning at home. You turn on water at home, water comes out. That was a plumbing engineer. Civil engineer might be something like if you see roads and bridges, that'd be a civil engineer. Or, let me think of another one. Acoustical engineer, sound systems in churches. Structural engineer, this building has to have concrete walls like you see, and there's steel up there. They design those. So how does an engineer use math in his everyday work? So I like math and I like science, and I'm an electrical engineer that worked on this school when it was built. So a lot of times I can close my eyes and think of how this school fit together electrically. In 1999 of June, we were thinking about this, and we were working for an architect. An architect does something very similar to what an engineer does. If you build with Legos, that's kind of like what an architect does. And so in 1999, we were thinking about this building. And so if I wanted to say, how do you use math in this building? Here's an easy way. Have you ever looked up at the ceilings? All right, look up at that ceiling. This is called a grid ceiling. Does anybody know how wide that little piece of tile is? You want to take a guess? How wide is it? David?
About 4.
Yeah, it's 4 feet long this way, and it's 2 feet wide this way. So if you wanted to look at this room and say, how wide is this room? You could count every time. You say 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28. So you know that Miss Buurma's room is 28 feet wide. How about how long do you think it is? If you know that that's 2 feet and this is 4 feet, how long is this room? You've got to count the tiles. Don't you count? 7 of them, and they're 4 feet wide. What's 7 times 4?
28.
28. So it's 28 feet wide. So when we would draw up a plan, we would look at it and we'd say, well, how many lights need to go in there? That light matches up exactly with the tile. So how wide is that light? 4 feet, right? 4 feet by 2 feet. So you see how every day I have to use math to think, all right, how wide is Miss Buurma's classroom? How long is it? And how will those lights fit in there? So at night, you know, somebody had to think about these and design those, and so those lights were placed right here. And so at night, what does the front of the school look like? All lit up, right. All lit up. I'll tell you a little secret. If you look up right in the middle of if you go out the front door and you look up right there, there'll be a little box and a cover. Does anybody know what that might be?
Panel?
No, not a panel. No, it's for a future. When they designed it, they said, well, we might like for there in the future to be a nice pendant light. You ever seen it at a church? They might have a pendant with some glass and stuff in it on hanging. They said, well, put a box right there, and if we ever decide to, we'll put a big pendant light. So I always think about that and think, well, they never put the pendant light. But so now if you go out, stand on that front porch, look up, and you'll see that, and you'll know what that box is there for. What do you think that little S is? It looks like it's connected to the light. What do you think it does, Rod?
Like a fire thing. If there's a fire, water.
There are those, but it's not that. What do you think? Not a circuit.
A light?
It does to a light. Look, what's that gray thing right there? A switch, right. S stands for switch. So that would have been the switch controlling that. These are what's called details. If you go to the end of the playground down there and you look and you turn the corner, what do you see all up there that is there's fence around?
Boxes. Air conditioning.
Air conditioning, that's right. So if you look, it will look like this because we drew a panel and it has conduits or pipes and has wires going to them. So there's a little detail there. Remember I talked about the main service panel? That's the MSP. See if you can find one that says HG. Is there one HG? Right there. So that's the, what was the G for? Gym. So that's the one over here in the gym. These are panels, and they have power coming in them, and then all the lights and everything go out of there.